internet, my name's Lave and I've watched Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Okay, so as is tradition, this is going to be a spoiler-free review. I won't spoil anything that hasn't already been spoiled in the trailers. And I have to tell you where I'm at with regards to my thoughts on Man of Steel. I was actually going to try and get a review for that before I saw this. For various reasons, it became clear that I wasn't going to get it posted in time, so I changed tactics slightly and thought that I could post it after I've seen Batman v Superman, now that I've got a better idea of the overall picture of the DC universe. Okay, so Batman v Superman. Now, a lot of reviewers actually got to see this early, so there are a lot of spoiler-free reviews up. I didn't watch any of them until after I'd seen it, but I have to say I largely agree with what they've said. Mostly that it's a mess, but with good moments. If you liked Man of Steel, then you will probably like this. My thoughts on Man of Steel, as I said, I'm going to do a review of that, but in a nutshell, I liked it, but there are bits that I didn't like. But they have really marketed Batman v Superman to kind of vindicate any decisions that they made for Man of Steel. Whether this was the plan all along is debatable. I think there are some bits where they have vindicated some of it, but there are other bits which haven't. The bits which are kind of vindicated is the mass destruction. The film basically picks up where Man of Steel leaves off. After a Watchmen-esque flashback of the Waynes being killed, it picks up in Metropolis with the World Engine destroying Metropolis, and Bruce Wayne is there. You've seen it in the trailers. Ben Affleck is awesome as Bruce Wayne and Batman, but I'll talk about that more in a minute. The other elements which I don't think they have vindicated is Superman. Now, I really like Henry Cavill as Superman, and he's done the best with what he's been given, but Man of Steel ended with the promise of him becoming the Superman that we all know. And yes, you see bits of him saving people and sort of becoming Superman, but he returns to the moping, brooding Superman, which I was really, really disappointed with. It does raise some interesting questions and the political side of there being a god amongst us, but I didn't feel they were able to explore that fully because it's just so jam-packed full of other subplots. Yeah, disappointing. Ben Affleck's Batman, Bruce Wayne, on the other hand, is actually awesome. However, I do kind of think that they have glossed over some of his morals. Yeah, he's killing people in this. Now, I don't necessarily mind that. I wish they'd emphasise more that he was an older Batman and that his morals have actually been stretched because of certain stuff that has gone on in the past. Now, they do kind of reference that. There is a line in the advert where he says,
20 years in Gotham, how many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
Yeah, okay, putting that aside, he is awesome. To give you an idea of the kind of Batman that he is, he's the perfect mix of The Dark Knight Returns and the Arkham series Batman. There is one particular fight sequence where it looks exactly like the game, and when Batman eventually fights Superman, it really has brought Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns completely to life. Now, for anyone who's read it knows that Superman doesn't actually come off well in that comic. He's like America's bitch. He just does what he's told. So Zack Snyder has done what he said. He's kind of taken inspiration from that, but not followed it to the T. Good job. Now, for me, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was a miscast. I totally get what they were trying to do. I think bringing back the traditional acting Lex Luthor might have come across as a bit generic and seen it all before. So I like the fact that they tried something new, but for me, it just didn't work. Jeremy Jahns, one of the big YouTube reviewers, describes his performance as kind of Jim Carrey-esque. Yeah, I can totally see what he's saying with that, but for me, it reminded me more of Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka? Jesse Wanker. I did, however, like Jeremy Irons as Alfred the Butler. He's a different version. Visually, he kind of looks like Commissioner Gordon. Alfred, the character, is that kind of anchor for Batman. He's the emotional voice of reason. Yeah, Jeremy Irons was good in it, but perhaps a little bit underused. And the same can be said with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. She is underused, but what you do see of her, I like. She's strong, she's sexy, and I'm interested to see her solo movie. I think that's going to be interesting. Kind of has a Captain America vibe in that she was in World War II, and yeah, you'll see what I mean. Amy Adams is back as Lois Lane, and I liked her in the first part. She has yet another subplot in the first half of the film where she's going off doing an investigation on a story. But then, like in Man of Steel, she just happens to be in the right place to kind of drive along the plot. And then I haven't even got to Doomsday yet. I think I'll save what I've got to say about Doomsday for my spoiler review. But essentially, they did spoil everything. I think it was the third trailer. I don't know why they did that. Oh, idiots. So I'm not going to do an enjoyment tracker for this review. I will save it for my spoiler review. To summarise what I thought about Batman v Superman, there are elements that I liked, there are elements that I didn't like. The whole thing just feels like DC and Warner Brothers are rushing to get the Justice League up and running. I know I'm not saying anything revolutionary there, and people have been saying that for quite a while, but it just has this sense of panic, and they're shoehorning so many things into Batman v Superman. That's why it's a complete mess. To give you an idea of how much they are shoehorning the whole Justice League setup, my mate actually went to the toilet about halfway through the film, and by the time he came back from having a piss, I looked at him and was like, dude, you missed the Justice League setup. He was like, fuck. Yeah, gutted. So I'm going to get straight on with my spoiler discussion for this straight away. I don't actually think that I need to see it again. I probably will, just to kind of make sure that I've got everything right in my head. To finish off this review, I will say this. They did do something quite ballsy. I don't want to give anything away, but I think, yeah, I'll save it for my spoiler review. Okay, so that's my initial thoughts on Batman v Superman, and thanks very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Either way, tell me in the comments. Bye. Subscribe.